Hey listeners, Doug Brunner here. Real quick, before we start the show, I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors who brought this show to you here today. Have you heard of Central Irrigation? Central Irrigation specializes in irrigation system design, installation, and maintenance from a variety of agriculture fields. They are committed to service any farmer's needs, making their services unlimited and diverse. Check them out at centralirrigation.com or call them at 209-262-3723.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth edition. Actually, 4.5. We started recording, but I guess it didn't work. So welcome to The Toast. I am Doug Brunner, and I'm here with Keith Yamamoto. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I am lucky today to be interviewing a friend as well as a young guy in ag who's really getting after it, Mike Fenn. He's currently with the Almond Company, and we're excited to have him here today. Young guy getting after it, kind of has a different perspective on ag. He's not driving a tractor every day. He's not out in the dirt all the time, even though I know he likes to. But he is a buyer of almonds, a seller of almonds, and is universal in all those things. So again, we're excited to have him here. Happy Thanksgiving again to everybody. Thank you to the farmers who are putting food on our plate. Everybody remember, say a prayer for that and enjoy that. Keith, I want to hand it over to you. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Hope your baby's doing good. And
thanks, Dougie. Again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We're extremely blessed to be able to sit here and record ourselves and have a conversation with some cool people. Today it's Mike. The biggest difference that I see with Mike with other young ag business people is Mike's got a very unique perspective on agriculture because he's not just held down here in the Central Valley. He's worldwide and global in what he does and has to understand different markets, different people, different cultures, and where, Doug or myself or a lot of the guys we deal business with, it's when we go out of town, we're going to Sacramento or we're going to Bakersfield. But, for Mike, it's London, it's India, UAE, or wherever the hell, almond marketing takes him. So, and he's been able to do this at a very young age. So that's a pretty unique situation. And I know I always enjoy talking to Mike about these experiences. And I think it'd be great for everybody to hear his perspective on things and some of the cool things he's been able to do early on. So, once again, we got this rain and we're thankful for that and happy Thanksgiving. And, so turn it over to Mike here and thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks for having me.
thank you, buddy.
I guess to start with, man, I'm super thankful to be here. You guys are doing such cool stuff here with the Ag Center and you guys' podcast. And, I was telling Doug, just kind of racking your brain all the time about what is the Ag Center, right? What is the mission of the Ag Center? And I really think, through traveling and through talking to people all over the world, they don't know that California has this ag belt in it, right? Everybody knows California as San Francisco, LA, San Diego, right? And I think that what you guys are doing as young entrepreneurs, young professionals really is putting California agriculture kind of on the map, right? Giving it a face, right? I told Doug, I think the Ag Center is making ag sexy for people, right? It is putting it, kind of more in people's face, which I think you guys are doing a great job at. So
sure.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah.
What do you, important. Touching on that, what you spent a lot of time, maybe you should touch base what you did in London for a couple of years. I know you lived there. What is the misunderstanding or not the understanding of people on California? What's their conception of that overseas? And
again, I think internationally, you see like people's shirts of California, right? It's a sun, it's beach, it's stuff like that. People don't understand that that California produces 80% of the world's almond supply, right? People don't understand that we have a lot of dairies here, or that we produce a lot of table grapes or wine grapes or anything like that. So I think that it's just a hidden gem that nobody really knows about. And again, I think that you guys do a great job at that. Thanks for fixing my microphone, Keith. No, you're a great technician. Yeah, we need one of those around here, actually, guys. Keith's overpaid to be doing this. So yeah, so I think the world doesn't know what's going on here, right? And I think that you guys are providing an awesome platform with a lot of young people doing a lot of cool stuff that should be putting that on the map. You know, so again, I think it's awesome. I'm thankful that you guys are doing it. And somebody's got to.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. You know, I mean, ag's got this stigma to it that it's, you know, it's barbaric and simple and all this, but it's really complex. We grow a lot of high value crops here, and you know, obviously almonds being a huge one of them. What you've seen, because you're on the marketing side and you're closer to the end product, closer to retail, where there's higher margins and more resource.
Yep.
You know, what are the exciting things that you see on that end of the business that maybe all of our local farmer guys or ag service guys might not be exposed to? That'd be exciting for them to understand. Maybe it's, you know, demand, or maybe it's market growth. What is that you think, Mike?
So I think from a macro perspective, I think that, you know, this plant-based protein, you know, this healthy dieting, you know, is really just starting to gain a lot of traction, right? I think when you look at almonds as a product, it's, you know, it's so diverse, right? You can do so many different things with almonds. You can dice them, you can manufacture them, right? You can squeeze the fat out and have a high protein powder for milkshakes, right? And I think the exciting part that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about, and the opportunity that's on the horizon for the almond industry really is, you look at some of these countries like India, that has over 1 billion people in population, you know, and it's a fairly young country, right? That age pyramid is kind of inverted, right? A lot of countries have very few young people and a lot of old people. Like if you look at Europe, you know, there's a lot of elderly people and they're not having children, and you know, the bottom of the pyramid is very small. Right. When you look at India, it actually looks like a pyramid, right? There's a huge strata of young people in India. And there's a lot of economic mobility. So there's people who are, you know, who've historically been relatively poor, but they're starting to become more wealthy. Right. So you're barely starting to chip into the Indian consumption for California almonds, right? And India consumes about 10% of California's almond supply. Right. So there's just a lot of really cool things that are happening, not just in, you know, again, that kind of economic growth that people are experiencing, but in product developments. And I mean, there's a guy across the street that's squeezing the fat out of almonds, right, and making a high protein almond flour to make, you know, into like milkshakes and things like that wasn't around 5 years ago.
Right.
Right. So there's
What are you seeing? Because I feel like you're going into, I was at my sister's the other night and she has almond like paste. It's like a mayonnaise, right?
It's crazy stuff like that you've never heard of.
And what do you really, I mean, do you feel like the States is really starting to change ingredients, things like that? I mean,
I think in the United States, you see a lot more product development, right? You see almonds across so many different product types. And consumption in the United States currently is changing, right? So, you know, consumption in the United States basically last year was flat, right? It didn't grow as much as everybody had thought.
Right.
But, you know, when we delve into that, we just think that, you know, maybe the snacking format, right? Almonds in a bag is changing, right? Maybe not so many people are just eating a handful of almond, but they're drinking almond milk, or they're eating almond butter, or, you know, they are, again, using your sister's like almond mayonnaise, right? So it's just, it's morphing and changing in places like the Middle East or Europe or India, right? They're still, you know, if I look at India, they're still just eating raw almonds, right? The product development in India hasn't changed like it has in the United States. And in Europe, it's not a snacking product. Right, it's still an ingredient into a marzipan that they eat, or it's a blanched slice into a ice cream or into a bakery format. So there's still a lot of different ways that people can still consume almonds.
Going back to you were talking about, you know, India. Do you see that obviously, from what you said, you feel like that's a huge potential market, right? We're barely at the tip of the iceberg there. Do you see kind of like how the States are now? It went from a brown skin driven market, raw almond market, which India sounds like it is now. Do you see that market turning into more of an ingredient market where it's not just brown skins, handful of almonds a day type of thing? Or how do you feel that culture relates to, a more ingredient based demand?
So I think as that younger kind of population starts to become more wealthy, I think they aspire to be more like the West, right? They aspire to be more like the United States or Europe, right? So the products that these younger generation is going to be consuming is going to be like granola bars, right? Or cereals, right? Or almond milks, right? So that eventually will probably get there. It's only kind of in the infancy stages now. There's only a few players in India that are actually, adding value to almonds today, right? Where they are changing like the actual makeup of them, Do
you see, you kind of said that the domestic sales or consumption of almonds is flatlined. Do you see that as a trend of it flatlining? Are we saturated? Are the opportunities in the export markets into places like India and Asia? Or what's your thoughts on, domestic consumption as it relates to the export market?
If you just look at countries and kind of the consumption within the countries, the United States is by far the largest per capita consumption. The thing with almonds, especially in the United States, is that if the price of cashews gets close to or the same price of almonds, a lot of substitution starts to happen.
Got it.
Right? So like roasted and salted almonds compared to roasted and salted cashews. Right? If you guys had bowls on the table right now, I would be willing to bet that we'd eat the cashews faster than we'd eat the almonds. Right. So there is some substitution that happens, and some people are
Why do you think that? Just because almonds are always there?
No, I think it's taste and preferences of people. Right. I mean, an almond, like a characteristic of an almond is so much different than a characteristic of a cashew in terms of like the flavor or like the oily, the creaminess of like a cashew. Right. Myself, I'd eat cashews much more than I would eat almonds personally, which doesn't sound right, but that's just the truth, right? Yeah. And I think that's what's happening, or at least that's what a lot of people believe has been happening in the United States. The cashew price has collapsed quite a bit, and so retailers are looking at what am I going to promote, right? What can I move more volume of? And when they see again cashew price close to, and it can even be higher than almonds, right? They'll start to promote cashews because they can sell more volume.
I just feel though, the almond marketing is just deep, right? And they entrench themselves and put themselves in a position at all times, right? And so you might get a lower in a price such as cashew or something like that. I just feel, I was thinking a deal or whatever, always put your hat in the table, right? In the, always put your number in the hat. Mm-hmm. I just feel the almonds is always, you're going to see pistachios on a dinner table. You're also going to see almonds. You might see cashews, but you're also going to see almonds.
Almonds are everywhere. The Almond Board of California has actually done a fantastic job, right? And it's paid by the almond growers. Mm-hmm. But the Almond Board of California has done a fantastic job of just putting almonds in people's, like the front and center of people's minds. Right? They've really, and almond, it could be a combination of the Almond Board or people's dietary changes, but I mean, almonds have been on a fantastic wave. I mean, if you just look at this year, okay, we're going to have a larger crop than we had last year. By how much, I can't tell you. Right? But on average, the price is 30 cents higher. Right? So you're going to have a larger crop and you're going to have a higher price. Right. In what commodity does that happen?
Well, especially with the strong dollar. Yeah. Because, you have a lot of exports and
trade wars. Right. So you got a trade issue in China. You have a strong dollar compared to the euro and almost every currency, And right now you're shipping 7% more almonds than you shipped this time last year, and you have a bigger crop and a higher price. How does that happen? Right? And I think one of the biggest advantages that California has right now is that we produce 80% of the world's supply. Yeah. I mean, again, I challenge you to tell me what other agricultural commodity has that. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it in tomatoes. My family's big in the dairy business, and you look back over the years and like tomatoes, I feel like the price of seed, plants, fertilizer, labor, everything's risen, but we're not getting it reflected in the price.
The price of, yeah.
Dairy, there's no doubt. I mean, you're talking people who work, I feel like
30 hours a day.
they deserve more than anybody. But when you
only got paid on effort.
Yeah.
when you take the reflected price of the feed, labor, everything, and you put it where the price has been, the only thing that seems to stay trending is the almond or the pistachio price.
Right.
That is just beating the inflation day in and day out, right? That costs always matter. But it seems like the price is beating cost at all times. And because I'm a numbers type of guy, everything comes down to ratios. It's just weird things. My grandfather taught me, if the price of alfalfa is this is what the price of milk should be. If the price of, you got to not grow alfalfa and grow corn, just different ratios. And the only thing that seems to continuously stay stable is the price of almonds with the price of input cost.
Right.
It's just that.
So you're saying as input costs go up, you've usually seen a correlated increased price of almonds.
It's just keeping a great a balance that just doesn't seem realistic at times.
Yeah.
But then when I walk into the store, I see more almonds there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just moved up in the chain again. It just, people love them.
Well, just think when we were kids, it was all peanuts. Everything was peanuts.
Yeah. That's
I mean, you might get the Planters mix thing where you get some cashews in there or whatever, but peanuts is still pretty popular, but almonds is the new peanut. I mean, maybe not the new peanut. Almonds is become, in my mind, maybe it's because we're in California, we're almond growers, but in my mind, almonds are in more things than peanuts are. They're more diverse. They're more flexible as far as what you use them for, like ingredients, flours, and those things.
But almonds are cannibalizing different markets, right? Almond butter has somewhat cannibalized peanut butter. Almond milk has somewhat cannibalized, and maybe not somewhat, but quite a bit, cannibalized the dairy industry.
Right.
I mean, it's a product that is like stable, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can hold it for 2 years. It's not like a tomato where you got to sell it now. It's like a table grape that you got to sell it now or else it's going to go bad. It's not, So almonds have been like a platform that people can just, like I said earlier, they're manufacturable, they're malleable, right? They have a good shelf life. And when California wants to sell almonds, they just change the price and we move the almonds. Every year we sell the entire crop.
Right.
Every year. And it's a matter of price. But the fact is, we can adjust the price, and there's the demand for almonds, so you can sell the entire inventory.
Everybody, again, I always stay back to the dairy because that's what I grew up with. I love it. My family's in it. But everybody always says, "Well, the price is going to fall." I said, if you lower the price of almonds down to $1.70 to $2, which is still profitable unless you paid $45,000 for a ground.
Which some did.
Yeah, but let's put it that way. We will no longer have
inventory.
Inventory, peanut butter. I mean, people will just gobble them up.
Well, it goes back to his point about the cashew substitute thing. If almonds drop to a certain level, now to start substituting with lower level products, and then, like you said, consumption will increase, and then now there will be a shortage.
And next year we'll sell prices higher. We'll sell almonds at a higher price.
Right.
It really is amazing. Again, when I look at the macro picture of it, we're gonna have a bigger crop this year, but we're selling our almonds at 30 cents higher. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is. It's been a really cool journey to be on for myself.
Are you a farmer looking for topping services? Tree Barber focuses in mechanical topping, hedging, and custom spreading. They cater to farmers' needs throughout the Central Valley. Find them at treebarberllc.com or 559-363-3315 for more detailed information.
Talk about your journey. I know your parents. You have fabulous parents. I've seen where you started at the Almond Company.
In the shipping department.
You sat in a corner.
Yeah.
And you've moved your way up. You've done things that maybe young guys aren't willing to do, which is go to London. Give us a a brief deal where you've lived in life, what your dad's done. I think you got an amazing family. You just got married. Exciting stuff for you. So give us a brief summary why you are where you are. I guess maybe my wife had some input on that.
All of the input.
Alex, everything always
shout out to Alex.
Yeah. The real boss.
Yeah, for sure.
Give us a real.
So I'm 30 years old. Stephanie, happy birthday.
Yeah,
She just turned
Happy
30.
birthday, Stephanie.
So I'm 30. The Central Valley has really always been, or California has always been my life. I was born in Bakersfield, and we lived there for a while. My dad has managed table grape vineyards for about 35, 40 years now, always in the production side of ag. I always grew up working on the farm. It was pruning vines, tying canes, picking grapes, weighing boxes, so always doing manual labor. Always loved being outside on the farm. So ag is deeply kind of rooted in, my upbringing, and kind of how I understood what work was, right? Work was physical. Work was, getting out there and being dirty. So I've always enjoyed that side. At a young age, basically I was in the 4th grade. We moved from Palm Springs to Cairo, Egypt, and we lived there for 4 years. So from 2000 to 2004, I moved back basically when I was a freshman in high school. My dad was working on a ag project in the desert with a couple investors. And that experience of living in Egypt really just sparked something inside of me that I wanted to live overseas. I wanted to be in ag, and I wanted to be somehow in ag with international business. I never really knew how that was going to fit for me. And so then I ended up going to college at Fresno State, studying ag business and entrepreneurship. And shout out to Fresno State. They have a fantastic entrepreneurship program there. They have a mentor program that I was involved in. And through that, I got introduced to the almond business. In one of my ag business classes, I met Alex Harris, was her last name at the time. And we started talking about, the almond business. And we had a couple friends in common. And she said, Mike, you really need to meet my dad. So I said, yeah, okay, whatever. She had my phone number. Next thing I know, this guy, Russell Harris, is calling me. Hey, you need to come to Chowchilla. I want you to come and have lunch with me. Oh, okay, whatever. So I go over there and, he's got lunch served. It's a small little kind of house office thing. And, I have lunch and I meet Conrad De La Torre, I meet Dave Bazar. And, one of the comments Dave Bazar made, who's, one of my biggest mentors now, is he says, what the hell do we need a kid for that doesn't know shit, right? We don't need this kid. Oh, okay, whatever. Take it on the chin. So then, I talk with Harris for a while, drive around, and then I meet him again. And 2 weeks after I graduated from college, I started working for the Almond Company. And I started in the shipping and logistics department. So I understood kind of the documentation behind, selling almond or exporting almonds and kind of how you got paid. And I was in the shipping department for about a year. And there was so many times I wanted to quit. And Russell kept, he'd call me into his office. He goes, look, Mike, you're starting at the bottom, but I want you to learn kind of all the jobs that kind of, that go along in this business so you can have an understanding of things. And so I'd go work in the plant a little bit. And then I moved over into the sales division and I started working directly under Dave. And Dave is a excellent teacher, right? Dave has all the patience in the world. He's been in the industry for 25 years.
Also a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Laser.
Great friend. Great guy. He acts like he's 15, but he's about 63. So at some point I've been in sales for a little while. I did a little bit of traveling, and then Russell came into the office one day and said, do you want to move to London? And I was like, without hesitation, I said, yes. When am I going to go? That was kind of what really gave me a lot of experience. So I ended up moving to London. I lived there for 2 years. We set up a sales office. There's about 14 people now who work in that office. And their job is to basically take us direct to customers within Europe, the Middle East, India, China. And it actually has differentiated us, in my opinion, quite a bit from our competition, because I got people who speak German, French, Spanish. I can take payments in euros. I can deliver almonds directly into, a German facility in the middle of nowhere, which most California packers don't have the ability to do. And that was just one of the coolest experiences as a young professional to have, kind of living on your own. I sold my car. I, ditched my house that I had here, and I lived by myself, kind of somewhat in isolation, but it really allowed me to focus right on a craft, right? Understand almond sales, trading, marketing, right? Understand the customers, right? Help build a customer base that was a lot different than what we had had in the past, right? We'd usually done business through other channels, and this allowed me to kind of, develop a little bit of a different insight. So then I actually met my future wife in London, and about a year into it, we decided, okay, how's Mike going to end up coming home? And yeah, exactly. And I've got this girlfriend that's living in California. I'm living in London. So eventually I move home. I've been home now for about 2 years. And I ended up marrying the girlfriend at the time. And it's just been a lot of fun ever since. So it was a great experience for me.
Hey, so I got to go see Mike, I think it was a month after you moved to London.
Must have been.
Yeah. He was living out of a hotel for a while till he found a house.
And that wasn't the best experience.
Yeah. Real quick, touch base on how, because one thing at the Ag Center I'm kind of proud about here is it's a lot of youth.
Yeah.
As you get to see, it's a lot of young guys doing.
And ladies.
Of course, I always forget. We're all on the same playing field, but one thing I've always heard from, what you're doing is you've kind of ruffled feathers being a little younger. And how's that been with, guys who are in the industry for such a long time, the brokerage way the almonds used to work, and now you're a young guy trying to change direction. How's people adapted to that with you? And,
I think as a California packer, okay, I think there can be, since you control 80% of the world's almond supply, a lot of California packers can develop an ego, right? Where I'm in control, right? It's all about me. I dictate things to you, and I know better. I've tried not to have that mentality because I am so young, and there's people who've been in this industry for 40 years who know so much more than I do, and will, they've seen so many different movements in price and things like that I've never experienced myself, right? So, I think just listening to people and taking their advice to heart has been very helpful. But I also think that we are taking a different path, right? We have decided that we're going to blaze this trail, and I think you just have to be committed to it.
Right.
It comes at a cost. It comes at people being mad. I've had people scream and shout at me down the phone. Because their livelihood is going to change because we're doing what we are doing. And you just have to believe that what you're doing is kind of the way of the future for yourself, and you just have to be committed to it.
Right.
I think you're going to get bumped and bruised and, spit at, but kind of just is the way it is.
Right.
Just real quick, I know you were sent to London. You had to develop a company, right? A lot of young guys are trying to develop things. Is there any time in that 2-year period? Of course, you're going to have highs and lows, and now it seems like it's really successful, going great. You have people over there. You put the people in place. So sometimes you forget about it. But going back and looking in those 2 years, is there a time where you're just like, what am I doing here?
Right before we pulled the trigger to really kind of make the decision of what we were going to do, there was a lot of, it wasn't just me. It was, the upper level management at the company. It was ownership, just thinking, okay, how's this going to affect us? Right. There was a lot of soul searching about, is this what we want to do? And after that, again, you just can't look back. You just got to do, you're committed to the path that you've chosen. You can always change it, but I think what's made us successful is that we've just put all of our focus in it,
Yeah. I think there's this whole podcast is driven to hopefully influence people, young people, and just people in general in ag. And I think a lesson that I want to reiterate that you just said in your story is there's a couple of things. One, you're humble enough to go start at zero with an opportunity. You saw an opportunity with the Almond Company with Russell, and then you were willing to start at zero. And all those times you wanted to quit, you didn't. So that's number one, right? Be humble enough to go take a risk to be the peon, right? That's number one. The other one, when you moved to London, what the type of example you make is you basically went all in on what you believed to love at the time, which ended up being what you do love now. So that could be a lesson to young people out there and I think that everybody here in this conversation has felt that at some point in a different stretch. Doug and I didn't move to London, but there's a time when you have to go all in and you have to take a little risk to grow, and there's going to be some discomfort, and yours was extreme. You're alone, time zones away, different days and nights are different. So the lesson is just, you got to go all in and put your head down and take a risk to end up to be somewhere great, right? Yeah. You got a long way to go still. We all do, but you've done this awesome thing and disrupted the market of what it's supposed to have been, right? According to these brokers and stuff. And then along the way, you've learned a lot. And then as just a icing on the cake, you met your wife in the process.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty awesome. So the story here is, you can't be afraid to take that risk and chase your dream to go do what you want to do by going all in. And it's not going to be comfortable. And I'm sure, like Doug said, there's plenty of times you wanted to quit and say, what the hell am I doing? I think that people listening today, regardless of the age, they need to take that lesson that you just explained and take that to heart, because that's what it's all about.
And I think for me, when I first moved to the UK, it was, the first 3 months, right? And it's such a small percentage of the total time that I lived there, but those are the most uncomfortable. And that's when most people would want to quit. Right. And that's when I wanted, like, oh man, this is bad. The weather's horrible. The food sucks. Like this. Food does suck. It's not the best. Right. I want to be back home in California where it's sunny and I can eat tacos and, I enjoy a good life. But after that, you get used to it and you find the things that are just awesome in it. And after that, you don't look back. Right. Right. Now that's my life.
Right. No, it's great.
Yeah. It was cool.
So we're talking about everything Mike's done, and Mike, fabulous. We want you to keep thriving and keep disrupting things and doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. It's been a pleasure to be your friend. It's been a pleasure to watch you do that. I want to have you on again in our future podcast because you're a good talker. You're full of shit sometimes, but
most of the time.
Yeah. But
the sales is all about.
That's right. You're a good person. You have a good heart. And, moving on to that is just a couple things is we are in ag because we are feeding the world. So what does Thanksgiving mean to you, Keith, in 30 seconds?
Thanksgiving is looking at all the things you take for granted on a daily basis and realizing how lucky we are to have all those things: family, friends, opportunities in life, just being where we are and not being in an impoverished area, and taking a step back and looking at those things that we might overlook on a daily basis. That's what I'm thankful for.
Mike? Yeah, I think first of all, being born in the United States is a huge advantage, right? The fact that we can be here with so much opportunity, with not a lot of political issues or, a lot of corruption. I think that first of all, you just got to be thankful that we live here. Mm-hmm. We live in America. We have a great country, no matter the politics and any of that. We have a fantastic system here. Right. So first of all, I'm thankful for that. And then it's about family, right? For me, I'm developing my own family. You guys are also developing your guys as young families now, and I think that that should be the focus, right? Mm-hmm. Thankful that we actually have good families, right, that we have people that are close to us, that love us, and thankful that we're in this industry, right? We are in such a cool industry and it's so niche, right? It really, globally, this is pretty small. Like what we're doing here in the Central Valley is pretty niche, pretty unique. And the fact that we can make good money living here and doing what we do is also unique. So that's what I'm thankful for. I'm also thankful to be here with you guys because I've been a huge supporter of this since the beginning. I used to ride around with Doug when he used to farm about 50 acres of tomatoes. Okay. He lost his ass farming spaghetti squash. Okay. I was in the car when he got the results. I was in the car when he made his first $1 million. So I'm just glad to be on the ride.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
I love you,
not
man.
growing spaghetti squash again. Enjoy eating it, but not. My thing is, it's a joke. Have you thanked a farmer today and stuff like that? But in this Merced County area where I see a lot of these guys, especially the dairymen, guys just go to grinding every day, and really thankful for those people. They just give it, and it's down, it's muddy. Today they're out unclogging drains, rain gutters. I couldn't imagine because I'm not doing it
Right.
like I used to. But they're out there. Tractors getting stopped because of the rain, and now they got to put in extra time. Why? Yeah, they need to make a living, but in the end, they're feeding this world, they're feeding us, and so really thankful for those people. Touching base, like Mike said, thankful for my family, my wife, my kids, my parents. It's a great time. We get to sit at our dinner tables and eat till we're full, and then we eat again. We're so lucky, right? And so Thanksgiving is a special holiday. It becomes more special as you get older, I think, right? And so happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And then the next thing is the Ag Center is going to be at the upcoming Almond Conference. We've been talking about almonds all day, or in the last 30 minutes. We're fortunate enough to going to have an event there I think on Wednesday. We're going to have some drinks there.
Sponsored by the Almond Company. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, sponsored by the Almond Company. We appreciate their support. We appreciate the people there. Appreciate Russell Harris, Dave Bazar, Mike Fenn. They're supporters here. They stop in, just like we want everybody to stop in, but they make it a point to come visit us here and know what's going on. So we want them to come, people to come visit us there, come check out what the Ag Center's doing, talk to people at the Almond Company. I'm sure they're going to be there. And we just want to thank everybody. Listen in. We appreciate everybody who's listened to the past few toasts we've had, and keep on listening, we hope. And if you have anything you want us to talk about or interview you, we'll try that. So let's end with the toast as we always do to
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
to Heineken.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
And happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.